What is up, y'all? What is going on? It's your boy Coaster Jedi back at you with another video today. This is the coasters in Virginia ranked, another state countdown. It's actually my home state, and so today I'll be ranking every coaster in Virginia from worst to best with a special highlight on the top 10 best rides here. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. As always, I'm going to run through some quick state stats for the state of Virginia. Starting off with the total coasters. Virginia has 22 total coasters of varying degrees of fun and intensity. The parks with more than one coaster are only two, but they're two very good parks in Kings Dominion, a top 5-seater fair park in my opinion, and Busch Gardens Williamsburg, my favorite personal park in the SeaWorld chain. Both fantastic parks and really good collection of roller coasters here. Out of the 22 coasters, I've ridden 20 from the state, so today I'll be giving my full thoughts on all of those roller coasters. So quickly, I will run through my honorable mentions. I won't spend too much time on these, just so a lot of these rides aren't major factors, but I will give a little bit of a background to each of these. So starting off at number 22 is Great Pumpkin Coaster, Kings Dominion. Then 21 is Python Pit, which is at Go-Karts Plus in Williamsburg. If you really want to get the credit, it is about 5 to 10 minutes out of Busch Gardens Williamsburg, so definitely recommend checking that out. But it is just a kiddie coaster. Twist and Shout is at Central Park Funland, and it's an SBF spinner. At 19 is Grover's Alpine Express at Busch Gardens. 18 is Woodstock Express at Kings Dominion. 17 is Grizzly at Kings Dominion. Maybe a little bit unpopular to put that so low, but in my opinion it was very rough and uncomfortable, although it does have a fantastic setting, and that's why it's not even lower. At 16, we have Apple Zapple, the Wild Mouse at Kings Dominion. At 15 is Racer 75 at Kings Dominion, formerly known as Rebel Yell, a fun out and back racing coaster. 14 is Avalanche at Kings Dominion, the Mock Bobsled. 13 is a Backlot Sun Coaster clone from Kings Dominion, fantastic family ride. 12 is Invader, the GCI at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. And 11 is Anaconda, just narrowly missing this list. The Aero Looper at Kings Dominion. I wanted to find a spot for it, but I just couldn't stack up to the rest of the coasters in the state of Virginia. So let's get started with our official top 10 right now. Kicking off the list, we have Flight of Fear at Kings Dominion. This is an indoor premier ride spaghetti bowl coaster. This is a fun ride. Got to ride it for the first time when I went back to Kings Dominion this year, and it's very enjoyable. It's got a great launch, and it has some fun inversions and some good forces. Unfortunately, there is that mid-course brake run that does kick in, and it really slows you down. There's also a couple of jerky moments, but really overall it's not a big deal. It's a fun, enjoyable experience, and to me, one of my favorite parts of the ride is actually they unload you on a different platform than the loading platform. You go out a different direction, so it makes it look like the riders disappeared, which I thought was really cool and was a nice touch to the ride. Overall, very fun, solid, enjoyable attraction. Number 9, we have Loch Ness Monster. This ride is a classic. Very fun, very enjoyable aero looper with a great setting over the lake. You also get some nice airtime as you go down those hills if you're in the back row, but I think what everybody knows this coaster for is the interlocking loops, the only coaster like that in the world. It's fantastic, and it's just such an enjoyable, picturesque, classic ride that really you can't go wrong with. It's not too rough, it's got a nice layout, and it's very unique and memorable. Number 8 is Tempesto, and this is one of those Skyrocket 2 models, and I'm a big fan of the Skyrocket 2 models. I think they're a lot of fun. They pack in some nice forces into a very compact footprint and have some great launches. You get some good hang time, especially if you're in the front row. Off of those launches, and of course the Heartline roll is fantastic at the top of the coaster. Very fun, enjoyable ride that I think gets overhated, and the comfort collars really aren't that big of a factor. They really don't bother you very much, so good, solid, strong ride here. Number 7 is Dominator. So this was actually my first ever B&M coaster. I rode this 5 years ago. It helped me get over some of my fears of bigger and scarier roller coasters. I hadn't ridden it since then, but it's great to get back on it this year, and it is so much fun. It's got a very strong, forceful layout, an enormous vertical loop, which you get some great hang time on, and it's just a beast of a coaster. It's a really good sight when you come up to Kings Dominion and you're greeted with it. It's pretty smooth for the most part. It's got some good force to it. It's a very strong, enjoyable ride. Next up, we have a coaster that impresses me a little bit more every time I ride it for Bolton at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So this has really been a coaster that's grown on me in the past year or so, and I think it's fantastic. One part that I don't hear a lot about is the great airtime that you get on the first drop as you go into the building. If you're in the back of the train, it's just incredible. You get some great airtime, especially if you have some space between you and the restraint. But even without that, the launches are fantastic. You have some great intensity inside the building. I've actually grayed out a couple times on this coaster. A nice vertical drop track, and then the final dive by the river is really nice. It's a nice ride to look at, but it's an even better coaster to ride. Now we're at our top 5, and these 5 are all fantastic rides. They're all in my personal top 25 as of right now. So at number 5, we've got Alpengeist. This is a great B&M invert. You guys have probably, if you follow my channel, you've probably heard that I really like Alpengeist, and I think it's a good ride. Yes, it's not 100% smooth, but what it has can help overcome that. It's got a fantastic drop, especially if you're in the back row. It's probably my favorite invert drop I've ever experienced. Back row. Left side is just fantastic on that drop. Some great forceful inversions. Inversion collection is one of a kind. And it's got some nice theming as well. Even though you need to brace yourself on that cobra roll, the rest of the ride is very strong and very enjoyable. This is a must-do at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. At number 4, we have another Busch Gardens Williamsburg coaster, Griffon, my favorite dive coaster. Out of all the dive coasters, I found this one to be the best overall. It has great airtime on the dive, it's got a great setting, it's a beautiful ride to look at, it's just so much fun. This thing is just so re-rideable, so smooth, just a great coaster overall. I really have nothing bad to say about Griffon. For what it is, it's pretty much perfect. Great drops, great inversions, great setting, fantastic ride. I only wish I had been able to get on this the last time I went to Busch Gardens since it was closed, but thankfully now it is up and running again and ready for everyone to enjoy. At number 3, we have Twisted Timbers, and this thing is a fantastic RMC. It was actually only my second ever RMC, and I was not disappointed. I had high expectations, and it delivered. It was fantastic. From the insane barrel roll drop to the great ejector airtime moments to the nice long ride time. This thing is awesome. I love those 3 camelbacks in a row. You just get some insane ejector airtime, and I love it. It's great. I could literally ride this thing all day. I have absolutely zero complaints about it. Only reason it's at number 3 is just because it's not exactly my favorite type of ride. I really love rides that focus a lot on height and a lot on sort of larger airtime and gracefulness. But this thing is absolutely fantastic, and I'd give it a 10 out of 10 for ride. It's just great. Number 2, we have Intimidator 305, and this is a ride that I did not expect to like nearly as much as I did. I thought going in that it would be a fun, enjoyable, very intense coaster, but since it's not really the type of rides I tend to usually like, I didn't think it would be a top 10, let alone top 5 coaster. And this thing was absolutely fantastic, especially in the back row is just insane. The drop is incredible, one of my all-time favorite drops on a roller coaster. You get some great force, obviously there's that gray out turn, and you get some decent airtime. I've never heard people talk about the airtime that you get on this coaster, but the hill under the main drop gives fantastic airtime. And there's a couple other good moments of it throughout the ride. And there's, of course, the whippy transitions. That's just insane. This ride is just insane. I don't even know how it exists, but it is so much fun and such a great ride. But at number 1, and this is super unpopular, but I've chosen to put Apollo's Chariot. I absolutely adore this thing. I love B&M Hypers, and this is one of my personal favorites. I think I have a very soft spot for it because it was one of the first B&M Hypers I rode, and I really just loved it, fell in love with the layout. It's got a great setting, and while the airtime may not be as strong as coasters like Mako, it's still got some great airtime, and it's just such a fun ride. I know that it may not be the type of ride for everyone because it's not as forceful or as crazy as some of the others, but I just love this ride. I have such a soft spot for it. It's so much fun, and it's just got a great setting and a great layout with some fantastic airtime with it. And that is why it is my number 1 coaster in Virginia. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you made it this far. Thank you for seeing my coasters ranked in Virginia, and make sure to tune in for more state countdowns as I go through more and more states of the coasters that I've ridden. So obviously Virginia has an amazing collection of coasters, and I'm very thankful that this is my home state and that some of the best coasters in the entire US are here. So until next time, you guys are awesome. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.